Ladies and gentlemen, you asked for something new. You asked for something that made sense. You asked for something that the big corporation in the wrestling world just doesn't offer you anymore. Well, tonight, if you were dumb enough not to tune in to AEW Full Gear, well, you missed something that you've been longing for a very, very long time. They had it all. Everything that you could want in a wrestling show, in a pay-per-view, they offered it and they gave it to you. But no, you were probably one of those dumbasses, those die-hard WWE fans that believe AEW is nothing more than a glorified t-shirt company. Well, I bet you're kicking yourself in the ass now. You see, I wasn't one of those dumbasses that missed the show. I was sitting here enjoying a great pay-per-view. From top of the card to the very end of the card, everything made sense. Everything was geared to draw you in. It was a crescendo. And just when you thought it was starting to slow down, it picked right back up. And it kicked you right in the teeth. That was a wrestling pay-per-view. Oh, sure, it had its ups and downs, just like every wrestling show does. I'm not going to say everything was perfect, because nothing ever is. But everything made sense. There was no last-minute switch-ups. There was no, oh, I just had a brain fart during the middle of a match. Let's change out the outcome. No. It was top to bottom. Bottom to the top. A great wrestling event. But no. No, you love your Roman Reigns. You love your Seth Rollins. You love seeing those pay-per-views that we get every single Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday. God damn it, who gives a shit what days they fall on these days? You see, shows like AEW, shows like NWA Power, they're giving the people that were driven away from wrestling a reason to enjoy the wrestling product once again. These aren't performers. They're not actors. They are wrestlers. You see, you can snub and you can call AEW and NWA whatever you please. They're not just the alternative anymore. They are the thing that has brought the fans back to the wrestling world. Professional wrestling. Not this garbage that we've been seeing for oh so long. You see, AEW doesn't need to go to war with WWE. See, they brought the war upon themselves. If you want to doubt me, just check out the last match, the main event, the lights out match. Check out the World Championship match that went down tonight. Check out the Britt Baker match versus B. Priestley that was on the kickoff show. When do you get a kickoff match that draws you in? No, it's a throwaway match. These performers of WWE, they don't give a shit. They're in the pre-match. They're on the pre-show. They're on the giveaway. They don't care, so they don't bother trying. But But here in AEW, the buy-in is just to pull you in. The main show hooks you. Well, I was hooked already on the buy-in. And I just kept on getting pulled in and pulled in and pulled in. Now, yes, like I said, it had its ups and downs. Okay? But, all in all, best pay-per-view I have witnessed in a long, long time. Now, I do apologize. You see, the angry Viking here, the big bad bully, yeah, he's kind of losing his vision a little bit. His peepers ain't seeing all so well anymore. So I'm going to have to put on my spectacles. I'm going to have to put a little bit of glare in my vision. All so I can look in on you. Oh, yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pillar to Post, and welcome, and thank you for tuning in. You see, I was a WWE fan. I was a WCW fan. I was a TNA fan. I was an ECW fan. I'm still an ROH fan. I got drawn into New Japan Pro Wrestling. But ECW fell to the power and the money of WWE. WCW fell to the power and, well, due to their own stupidity, to WWE. TNA lost all of its big stars. I don't know how it is. I stopped watching. I still enjoy New Japan Pro Wrestling. I still tune into Ring of Honor at times. But what really has been giving me that drive to tune into wrestling on Tuesdays here on YouTube with NWA Power, also AEW Dark, and then you've got Wednesdays AEW Dynamite. Well, it's guys like Billy Corgan. It's guys like Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks. Hell, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho. These guys that are building AEW. Tony Khan. See, they're the ones that give me the drive to tune into wrestling once again. Because it is something that I've been longing for a long, long time. Now, I haven't done reviews very often, and I actually just started up again, and I just ended up missing NWA Power, as well as AEW Dark, and the last episode of AEW Dynamite. But there's a good reason. I've got no excuses. But every so often, a man gets ill. A man gets sick. And we've seen that with Jon Moxley when he started this feud with Kenny Omega. He got hurt. He ended up getting sick. He ended up having to go and get his elbow drained. Surgery. But he made it back. And just like Jon Moxley, the Angry Viking returned. And has returned. And is right now doing this review. Now, everything that has led up to this pay-per-view, Full Gear, fuck it. You know, it's a crappy name for a pay-per-view. But what we witnessed made up for it. And if you were a sad sack that ignored it and said, AEW ain't worth it, well, you lost out. So you go and run your cable subscriber or your cable network and you order the damn pay-per-view and you check out what you missed. So I've got my notes down here. Now, I didn't take many notes because I was actually watching, but took a little bit of highlights. When I mean highlights, I mean just a couple of lines and blah, blah, blah. So I'll break it down as best as I can because I was immersed in a wrestling show, immersed in wrestlers, professional wrestlers. So if it comes off as a little bit weak of my review of each and every single match, well, tune in for your damn self and you'll find out what I'm talking about. So, the buy-in. Britt Baker taking on Bea Priestley. Now these two, they have had quite the run-in since both of them started here in AEW. Britt Baker suffering a concussion a couple weeks back and finally back in the ring, and Bea Priestley targeted her head for the majority of this match. She targeted her whole body. Bea Priestley is an animal in that ring. She goes and finds the weak spot and attacks. Now, Britt Baker, she was suffering from a flu as well today, but she was in that ring, she was performing, she was wrestling, and she did a damn good job of it. But you could see everything that Bea Priestley put on her was slowly wearing her down. You could see that she was breathing heavily through her mouth because her nose was congested. The scissor locks around her waist, the attacks on her back, it broke her down in this match, and somehow, some way, she still found a way to survive through the pain, come back, defeat Bea Priestley, locked in that beautiful, beautiful lockjaw. And I say it's beautiful because she's combined two devastating maneuvers in the wrestling world. The Rings of Saturn and the Mandible Claw. Locks those arms in, tortures a bitch for a bit, and then rams her fingers into the mouth, hooking the nerves beneath the tongue, and locking it in and pulling down. It is why it is called the Lockjaw. Overall, great match. These two have been having a heated controversial feud for the last, 3 weeks? You see, I'm a bit congested as well, so I know how Bea Priestley was feeling, Britt Baker was feeling today. But, top to bottom of the match, the feud going into this, the promos, the lack of concern by Bea Priestley when she concussed Britt Baker, everything about this match told that story, told the fans, the viewers, of the frustrations of Britt Baker. Showed the animalistic side, the one-sided mindset of Bea Priestley. And that is simple. Attack and hurt. But in the end, it came down to Britt Baker locking in that lockjaw. And it was just a little bit of a tappity tap tap. The match was over. Britt Baker can very well be your next AEW Women's Champion. No doubt about it in my mind. She carries herself like a champion. Now, I'm going to say this though. I love both women. Okay? I don't just look at a pretty face and a hot ass and a pair of tits and think she's a champ. No, I look at the character, I look at the way they carry themselves, I look at the way they wrestle. And Britt Baker, she can talk, she can wrestle, she sure as hell has the damn look for it. She's got the mindset of a champion. And she's got the respect of the fans. Now, you don't need the respect of fans to become a champion. See, Bea Priestley, in her own right, could be any one of those things. She's a tactician in that ring. She's a beast in that ring. And she is a brawler in that ring. She does everything the correct way and it makes sense. But Britt Baker, her star is shining just a little bit brighter in my eyes. That's just me though. All in all, like I said, exceptional way to start off this pay-per-view. The buy-in, great to see. Up next though, well, actually, getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Because, like I said, tonight was exciting. The main event popped my fucking mind. Following the match, though, after Britt Baker left ringside, got a little bit ominous, a little bit dark. See, Brandy Rhodes made her way out to the ringside with none other than Awesome Kong. Bea Priestley still in the ring, picking herself up after her tap out, after her loss, only to be attacked by the monster we all know from TNA days as Awesome Kong. Now, I was a little bit surprised to see a knife being revealed in this match, or in this little beatdown. But it was a story unto itself. See, Brandy Rhodes has been exhibiting these little dark vignettes, and it's kind of intrigued me a little bit. And today it was revealed why. And we all know she's at the back of Awesome Kong. See, this knife had a purpose. Now, symbolically, Awesome Kong hands the knife over to Brandy Rhodes. Hits kind of a butterfly facebuster on Bea Priestley. And then Brandy Rhodes comes back, hands that knife back to Awesome Kong, kneels down on the limp body, the carcass of Bea Priestley, finds the patch of hair she wants, and then allows Awesome Kong to cut those strands of hair and add them to her collection around her waist. Very intriguing. I loved it. I thought, little bit different, but it brings you back to those old school days where you seen Bruce the Barber Beefcake go and make a guy fall asleep, put it on the sleeper hold, break out the shears, and go to frickin' work. Right? Now, it wasn't quite as extreme, but it was very symbolic on what she was doing and what she was allowing Awesome Kong to do. All in all, I'm itching to see where Brandy Rhodes is actually taking this, and where Awesome Kong is going to finally be in this women's division. Now we're going to move on. Match number 2, and I believe this was also part of the buy-in. The Young Bucks. And I did forget the buy-in. A guest commentator. Taz. Now, if you didn't see it, when they first started talking at the beginning of the buy-in, that stance that Taz has when they stop their talking and they start going to the ring, that stance, that look, that demeanor, the way Taz has always carried himself has never changed. It was pitch perfect. When he did the commentary for this match between Britt Baker and Bea Priestley, spot on. He told a story. And that is what the commentators are supposed to do. Tell the wrestler's story, while the wrestlers are in that ring telling another story, the same story, but in a whole different way. So like I said, match number 2, Young Bucks taking on Ortiz and Santana. I was very impressed with this match. Now, I've said it time and time again on my show, that I find that there's a little bit too many flips, too many high spots in a match, especially when it concerns the Young Bucks, especially when they are in a match against the Lucha Brothers or even Private Party. I like to call them spot monkeys. There's so many spots, high spots in a match, that the fans just don't know when to pop anymore. They don't know when to get excited anymore because it's so much. It's so over the top that you're kind of lost in the shuffle during. It's not exactly telling a story, but tonight they slowed things down. They showed that they can be technical as well as still throw a high spot out there and make the fans gasp and cheer and get up on their feet and go nuts. Santana and Ortiz, they're very much the same way. And I dig that about them. They don't need to do a bunch of flips. They don't need to fly over the top rope consistently 50 times in a match. But when they do it at the correct time, and the fans go nuts. This match alone showed me that the Young Bucks can be tacticians in that ring as well as high flyers. And that I liked. It was like they slowed it down a little bit. It was like a crescendo. The match started off a little bit on the slow side, kept building, and boom, turned around on you. Now, Nick Jackson would end up getting hurt in this match. And he, serious injury or storyline injury, he played it very well. But he did it in a way where he could still come back at times, show that he got that burst of adrenaline, and still throw a great match. However, it would be Ortiz and Santana pick up the win tonight. A little bit shocker there. I didn't think that they were going to let them win their first pay-per-view against the Young Bucks. But I like it that they did, because a lot of people out there already been flapping their gums. They might not watch the product, or they just heard, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody Rhodes, they're running the show, so they're obviously going to give themselves all the wins, all the titles. And they've been proving otherwise. Cody said it himself in his last promo. He's heard the people talking. So he's going to take himself out of the equation if he loses Chris Jericho tonight. But that's later. But that tells you a whole lot right there. What I liked about this match, like I said, it showed the real tag team skills of these two teams. It was very brutal at times. It was very technical at times. It came down right to hands, throwing hands at times. But all through the match, it showed and told a story. It showed the side of the Young Bucks wanting revenge on all these attacks by Santana and Ortiz. It showed the hunger, the drive of Santana and Ortiz. It showed the willingness to do what you needed to get done to be the best tag team around. But tonight, the Young Bucks, they succumbed to the pressures. Ortiz and Santana picked up a huge win and used it with what they call the street sweeper. Very impressive, very outstanding match. Could not ask for a better tag match than what we witnessed. Now, at the end of the match, became a beatdown. Santana and Ortiz, they weren't just happy with winning the match. They wanted to break the Young Bucks. But during the match, if you missed it, you seen the legends, the Rock and Roll Express on the outside. They were part of the fans. They were in the front row. Santana and Ortiz, they both went up and spit on them, blew their nose on them, showed absolutely no respect for the legends of the business. So at the end of the match, when Santana and Ortiz decided to continue the beatdown, as well as Sammy Guevara joining them to continue the assault, it was the Rock and Roll Express that entered the ring to save the Young Bucks. You even got to see, not Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton do a suicide dive through the middle ropes, take out Sammy Guevara as well as, I believe it was Ortiz. Exceptional. The Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, they are still competing to this day. They are still climbing in that ring and doing what they have always loved to do. And the fans loved it. The fans enjoyed it. It was a nice way to end this match. They had the backs of the Young Bucks who looked up to these guys like Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, guys like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Guys like the Hardy Boys. Guys like Edge and Christian. These guys looked up to those guys. You can see it in their style. You can see it in the way they dress. Having these legends, the Rock and Roll Express, come in, have their backs at the very end. Spot on. I can't wait to see where this leads further on. You know this isn't going to be the end of it between the Elite and the Inner Circle. Now, opening match of Full Gear. Pac, the Bastard, taking on the Hangman, Adam Page. Now, I really love this. Both men, I've known this for quite some time with Pac, when he was in WWE, when he was over in, I can't remember the wrestling company he was in afterwards. Dragon Pro Wrestling or something like that. Never mind, this is AEW. But I've known it for quite some time that Pac can work virtually with anyone you put in the ring with him. He can change his style up according to the person he was wrestling. And he did that tonight with the Hangman. He slowed it down a little bit, got a little bit more methodical, got a little bit more bitter. The Bastard came out in him. Now, these two have had 2 encounters previously, both of them each picking up a win in their other 2 confrontations. So tonight was the rubber match between these two. And they've had a couple of run-ins, besides cheap attacks by Pac, some revenge attacks by Hangman. Tonight was the rubber match. It was to see which one was the better man in the end. Exceptional match. Technical, brawling, high-flying. We've seen moonsaults off the top turnbuckle to the arena floor. We've seen the barricade get used multiple times. We've seen the vengeful spirit, that hard-ass attitude of both of these men. We've seen some cowboy shit get delivered, and we've seen a bastard go to town on a cowboy. It was a brawl. It was a wrestling match. It was exactly the way you want to open up a wrestling show. Now, Britt Baker and the Young Bucks, Ortiz and Santana, B. Priestley, pre-show, the buy-in. Yes, that is what opens the show, but the very first official match of the pay-per-view, Pac and Hangman Adam Page. If you missed it, you seriously missed a great match. Now, in the end, it was the Deadeye of the Hangman that took the win. Yes, Hangman Adam Page hitting the Deadeye on Pac, pins his shoulders 1, 2, 3 in that ring. Hasta la vista, baby. The Hangman getting a little bit closer to that AEW heavyweight, or should I say world champion in Chris Jericho. Or would Chris Jericho still be the champion at the end of the night? He could be facing a friend, an elitist, in Cody Rhodes at the end. You never know. So, all in all, like I said, the perfect way to open up Full Gear, Pac versus Adam Page, the Hangman picking up the win with the Deadeye, and we move on. We move on to Shawn Spears, the chairman of AEW. He'll be taking on the hardcore, the bad boy, Joey Janela. Now, some serious incidences have happened before this matchup here at Full Gear. See, Joey Janela wanted some revenge. See, he was attacked by Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears in the locker room. What was it, last weekend? Or last week on Dynamite. using pliers to pull his tongue out and put out a cigarette on the man's tongue. I'd want to whoop some ass as well. Now, Joey Janela has been making it very clear. He wants to show the world he's more than an extremist. He's more than a hardcore brawler, a purveyor of violence. He wants to show the world a different side of Janela, the wrestler that lurks within. Sean Spears, we all know him as Ty Dillinger from back in the other company. Coming in on his own, starting to... He's slowed down his match style a little bit, and I'm digging it. You know, it's not all about a high spot. It's methodical. And you've got a legend like Tully Blanchard in your ear, giving you advice, teaching you a new way, and a way to really bring pain upon your opponent in that ring. It has, in my eyes, made Sean Spears look a hell of a lot better in that ring. And I think the longer he is at the hip of Tully Blanchard, it's only going to get better. Now, I liked both sides of this match. You can see there was some hiccups. You can see it was at some points just a little bit too slow. But I think in the end it really helped Joey Janela as well, because he is used to a more violent atmosphere when it comes to the wrestling ring. The kid can wrestle. He's been doing it for 13 years. Now Sean Spears, he's been doing it for 17. He's got about 4 years experience up on Joey Janela. No doubt about it, both men are wrestlers. Joey Janela, he can take it to a different level if the match calls for it. But tonight it was the Death Valley Driver to take the win. Sean Spears hitting it spot on, taking the win. Joey Janela takes another loss. But he showed the AEW fans that he's more than an extremist. He's more than just a brawler. He's more than just a pigeonholed wrestler put in a box and said, this is who we want you to be. We want you to bring the violence. We want you to do this off the top of your head bullshit. No, he showed he can wrestle. It was an entertaining match. It told the story of these two having hatred for each other. And that's what it's all about. It's all about telling the story in that ring, and both these men did just that. Was it the best match on the card? Absolutely not. But it told the story of the strife between these two men. The hatred, the animosity for one another. The need to better yourself and be at the top of your game. Sadly, Sean Spears took the victory. See, I got notes. Now, a lot of this is just off the top of my head, remembering what happened. Not really doing what I did a couple of weeks back, where I jotted down a bunch of what they did in that ring. No, it's about the emotions that these matches brought out in me. The excitement, the atmosphere of the show itself. And that's what I want to try and relay upon you, the viewers here of Pillar to Post. And it might not be the most technical review, but it's a passionate review. It's a passionate review of a fan of wrestling that has been seriously damaged by the product that has been brought to us thus far, and for a very long time. And it is great to see that there are a couple of companies out there willing to take it to a new level and bring us what we've been longing for. So up next was the tag team title match, a triple threat, a three-way dance. Well, a cornucopia of a whole lot of spots. A whole lot of spots. See, all three of these teams, high flyers in their own right. Now, I know very well that SCU can be very technical. They can be that tag team tacticians of that ring. And seriously, in my books, legends of that ring as well. You got Frankie Kazarian. Now, Scorpio Sky, he's the newest member of SCU, brought in under the guidance of Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. Now, Christopher Daniels taken out by the Lucha Brothers. A few weeks back on Dynamite, and been sitting his ass at home recovering. Scorpio Sky stepped in to help another member of the SCU. See, this all started with the AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament. And the Lucha Brothers wanted to take out, I believe, who they thought were their most serious competition, SCU. See, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, they've been long-time tag team partners. They've been tag team champions in multiple companies. So, who was your biggest threat, and what do you do with them? You take them out. But Scorpio Sky stepped in, and in the end, SCU became your very first AEW Tag Team Champions. But they wouldn't have to defend their titles against just one tag team. No, they would have to defend those titles against the runners-up of that tag team tournament in the Private Party and the number one contenders in the Lucha Brothers. Now, if you haven't seen the Lucha Brothers in a match before, you know you're seriously missing something. These guys work cohesively they are blood brothers. But they also do some profane shit in that match. From flips to scary off-the-wall crap, these guys do it all. They could have very well been the very first AEW Tag Team Champions. And tonight they had their opportunity, but that third party, the Private Party, was added to the mix. A triple threat, a three-way dance, a Mexican standoff. Top to bottom of the match, it was risk-taking, it was intense. You knew it would be with the Lucha Brothers in there. You knew it would be with the SCU involved. You knew it was going to be that way with Private Party. These guys love to fly. These guys love to flip. They love the off-the-wall antics that you can do off those ropes, off the turnbuckles. Hell, running across the ropes just to kick someone in the head. These guys did it all. But in the end, SCU retains their championship titles. They remain your AEW tag team champions. And all in all, take away all the flips, take away what you want. Definitely they are the team to be your AEW champions at the moment. But you know that guys like the Lucha Brothers are not going to rest until they get their rematch one-on-one with SCU. But in the end, after everything was said and done, the hands raised of Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, the Lucha Brothers attack. And they attack hard. All of a sudden the lights go out. And in the ring, when the lights come back on, you've got not one, but two Pentagon Juniors standing face to face. Now, it's not a far stretch to wonder who the second Pentagon, they call him Trace, who he was. But it was definitive when he hit the fallen angel, or is it Angel Wings, on Pentagon Jr. Christopher Daniels rips the mask off, reveals himself to be Trace. And You know Christopher Daniels is going to want to get revenge. He was hot. He was ready to go. His brothers of SCU holding him back so he didn't go up the ramp to continue fighting. Spot on, great tag teaming, great storytelling by all three teams. You know Private Party is young. They've got a long way to go. They still need a little bit of experience. The Lucha Brothers, definitely AEW Tag Team Champions in the near future. You know it. There is no doubt about it. But right now, the team to beat is SCU. From there, we move straight into the AEW Women's Championship match. Riho taking on Emi Sakura. Um, this one I seen right away. Now, Emi Sakura is the mentor, the teacher of Riho. I believe they've known each other for like 13 years. Sakura training Riho in Japan for many years. They have had many matches against each other, and you could see that respect, that emotion, even in Emi Sakura's eyes. They were very glassy-eyed at the very beginning of the match. She was running strong with the emotions. Now, I find it a little bit difficult to get totally invested in these characters right now. I love what they do in that ring, but there is a lot of the things you see in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the antics of, the cartoonishness sometimes of Emi Sakura. The way she acts in that ring. She is a big fan of Queen, and she sometimes wastes a lot of time in the matches with some of the stuff she does. But in the end, I looked at it through different eyes. I was looking at what this match meant to both these women. Like I said at the very beginning of the match, you've seen the strong emotions in the face of Emi Sakura. Definitely the veteran of the two, but and the heavier of the two. Now, Riho is a little over 5 feet tall and 98 pounds. Like, she is a tiny woman. She has taken out one of the biggest women wrestlers on AEW, and continued to battle through the odds. When you think that she's beat, turns it around. I love her as a champion. I believe Britt Baker would make a better one. I think the fans could connect with someone like Britt Baker a little bit more. But they do love Riho. A little bit slow at times, the match was. But in the end, they did tell a good story, and it picked up. It was like a song, starting off a little bit slow, picking up, dropping off a little bit, picking back up, dropping off, and then hitting that high note. Right at the end, Riho defeats her mentor to retain her women's championship. Good match. I would not say it was the best, but a good match. It told the story. It told the history of these two women. And that's what I like. I like to see that story unfold in that ring. Yes, it might be a little bit hard to connect with them at times, but if you take that part away and you watch what they're doing, yes, there was some slow parts in this match. There were some parts wasting a little bit of too much time. But in the end, they got the point across. Riho continues to be your women's champion of AEW, and I can see her doing a lot more. And when she does really connect with those fans, the fans do pop for her, and I do love that. We go to the main event of the night. Chris Jericho, the very first AEW champion, Le Champion of AEW. And he's had a mouth. He's been running it strong against the Rhodes family, about the silver spoon fed Cody, claiming that if not for him, AEW wouldn't be where it is today. Cody Rhodes, the Nightmare, or I should say the American Nightmare, a member of the Elite, cast aside, treated like dirt, and pigeonholed in the former company he represented. Hit the indies, pulled his boot heels on, tugged on his belt strap, pulled up his damn pants, and he made something out of himself. He made himself into the man he always knew he was. And now, helping build AEW from the ground up, helping behind the scenes of a VP of the company. You know, he's come a long way since leaving WWE. I love what both these men have been doing since walking away from their former company. Okay? Jericho was starting to get pigeonholed hard as well. No denying it. Having to do a lot of dumb shit. Having to be a joke. Not very much different from the way Cody was treated. And there's been a lot of verbal attacks on Cody's family during this whole feud. And Cody, very emotional, very... The promos that these guys are doing here in AEW, that alone blows whatever the superstars of WWE have been doing for a very long time. You get hooked. He's very much Dusty Rhodes' son, very much. Because you get hooked in how he's speaking, what he's speaking about, the emotions that he conveys when he is cutting a promo. It is top notch, and I don't know how a guy like Vince McMahon could drop the ball on guys like Jericho and Cody Rhodes. I don't understand it at all. Now, what I liked about this match, it was very much like a song, a crescendo. It was very much that slow start, that wrestling aspect, chain wrestling, catch as catch can, trading holds, wearing each other down, trying to pick apart a body part to wear down the opponent, speeding up where it needed to be sped up, going for the throat when needing to go for the throat, but really being methodical and taking it to another level as the match progressed. Now, we had a couple of scary moments in this match. We had Cody Rhodes fly over the top rope. Jericho steps aside and Cody Rhodes face plants right on the stage, or the ramp. Busts his forehead wide open. Now, good thing was there was a doctor on hand, checking on him quickly, dabbing away the blood. It was a deep laceration. Very concerned with his well-being was the doctor as well as the referee. He continued the match. He insisted on continuing the match. And then from there, it was an attack from Jericho on that laceration on the head of Cody Rhodes. Unrelenting, working the ribs over, because Cody Rhodes' ribs also damaged when he flew over that top rope. Hit his ribs. His face hit first, but you could see the damage was done. At one point, Jericho even removing his weight belt and whooping the ass, the body of Cody Rhodes. Now, we also seen Cody Rhodes' mother get involved, slapping Jericho as he got in her face. And then when speared by Cody, another slap by Mama Rhodes. Loved it. Now, we seen a figure four locked in on Jericho by none other than Cody Rhodes. That got turned around. Couple attempts with the walls of Jericho, and the final one could not escape, could Cody Rhodes. Locked in deep, really bending him over, did Chris Jericho. Excuse me. And really putting the pressure not on just the back but on the neck of Cody Rhodes. Now, what happened was this was a 60-minute time limit match. And I was assuming it would go that whole distance. I really was. But MJF, the man that was brought to ringside to have Cody Rhodes' back, throws in the towel, much like it was done with Bob Backlund back in the day when facing the Iron Sheik, much like Owen Hart did to his brother Bret Hart back in the day of WWF. Not unlike tonight. MJF, worried, concerned for the well-being of Cody Rhodes, throws in the towel. The referee calls for the match. Cody Rhodes could not continue, or at least the thought of MJF. Now, MJF really showed concern here at the end of this match. Chris Jericho retains his title. Makes his way out of the ring. MJF checking on Cody Rhodes. And you could see when Cody Rhodes was finally able to understand what the hell happened. What went down. When he picked himself up off the mat, he was struggling with himself. But in the end, he showed his kindness, his friendship to his friend, understood what he had done, only to be betrayed by the man that he considered his best friend. MJF delivers a low blow on Cody Rhodes, putting him down, leaving the fans in shock, leaving the commentators to curse and berate him as he exited the ring. He let AEW and every single fan know he is the man to watch for. And Cody Rhodes should have known better. Great storytelling from the top of this match to the very end of this match and following the match. That is what I look for in a main event. This will carry on and go to a new show, a new feud for Cody Rhodes, who will no longer be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship. He is not allowed. He put that stipulation in this match himself. If he lost to Chris Jericho, he would no longer challenge for the AEW World title. And thus, being screwed over by MJF, Cody Rhodes is out of the running for AEW World title status. The Lights Out match. Now, everyone was probably wondering if Kenny Omega could actually go to the limit of the extreme that Jon Moxley could. Well, he showed tonight he could go there, and he could push it just a little bit more. So much brutality in this match. So much carnage, and so much pain. All in all, if this was the only match on the card, I would have watched it still, and I still would have enjoyed it. Now, they took their time with this match. They had no choice. They put their bodies through hell. Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega in a lights out, unsanctioned match. This could have been classified as your main event, but unsanctioned means doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't count for a hill of beans. You do or you don't. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't count for much except for pride. Pride over the fact that you one-upped a man that thought he was the greatest, and another who thought he was the most extreme, the purveyor of violence. Jon Moxley brought the fight, but Kenny Omega returned it in kind. We seen a table laden with mouse traps be used. We seen men's bodies get raped by a baseball bat wrapped up in barbed wire. We seen a barbed wire laced broom being used to sweep the body of Jon Moxley We seen blood, we seen gore, we seen violence. Everything that Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega promised, they delivered tenfold. If you have no doubt about what I'm saying, go back and watch the match, because you're going to enjoy every single minute of it, and it gets better. See, when you thought they couldn't take the violence a step further, well, Kenny Omega begs the Young Bucks to bring it out. Bring out a surprise. Might as well have been a barbed wire spider web. He attempts the one-winged angel from the ramp to the arena floor through this spider web of barbed wire. A reversal, an attempt for the paradigm shift. Reversal. Finally, a suplex from the ramp to the arena floor through this bed of barbed wire. Both men through it, wrapped in wire, biting through their flesh. And when you think that should probably be the end of the match, the referee should have called for it. Absolutely not. V-trigger knee strike through a spotlight. Jon Moxley, first one to crawl out. The face of Kenny Omega hitting the glass, slowing him down a little bit, but the fight continued. Went back into the ring. The brutality was never ending for both men. The blood kept on flowing. And just when you thought Jon Moxley couldn't get any more sadistic, any more violent, he cuts the straps off of the wrestling mat, pulls back the mat as well as the foam underneath, the padding, revealing the pine boards underneath. We seen a backdrop on the pine, and then when you thought that the paradigm shift was coming, Jon Moxley turns it around, hits the paradigm shift of his own, fails to get the 1-2-3. Even attempted a one-winged angel. Absolutely a no-go. An elevated paradigm shift finally ends the match, and Jon Moxley picks up the final win in this final match of AEW Full Gear. You had any doubts that you missed a good show? Well, get off your ass. Go order the pay-per-view and watch it for your damn self, and you'll get a better feeling of what the hell I'm talking about, folks. Because if you didn't like it, I definitely, from the last pay-per-views I've seen of WWE and any other shows, very well could have been a 5-star pay-per-view in the end for AEW Full Gear, because they delivered and delivered and delivered. And if you still feel like that you're having smoke blown up your ass about AEW, well, they proved themselves once again tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this was my review of AEW Full Gear. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you missed it, well, you're missing out. Have a good night. Have a better tomorrow. And if you make me put these glasses on one more time, people, I'm liable to get very angry. I'm out of here, folks. I'll see you on the next review.